I grew up in a house where my oldest sister, Emily, made it her personal mission to remind me every single day that I didn't belong, that I was different, and that I would never be a real member of the family because I was adopted and she wasn't. She would whisper it to me at the dinner table when our parents weren't listening. She would announce it to my friends when they came over to play. She would write it in my school notebooks and leave anonymous notes in my locker. And she would say it loud enough for everyone to hear at family gatherings, always with that cruel, smug smile that made me want to disappear into the floor. "She's not really our sister," Emily would say at birthday parties, holiday dinners, and family reunions. "She's adopted. She doesn't even look like us. She's not really part of this family." And the worst part was that our parents never did anything to stop her. They would just sigh, change the subject, and pretend like nothing had happened. Like their daughter wasn't systematically destroying their other daughter's sense of belonging and self-worth. I would cry myself to sleep at night, clutching the small photo album of my adoption day that my parents had given me, and I would whisper to the pictures of my birth mother, asking her why she had given me away, why I had been abandoned, why I had to spend my entire childhood being bullied and humiliated by someone who was supposed to love and protect me. I begged my parents to stop Emily, to punish her, to make her understand how much she was hurting me. But they always said the same thing. "Emily is just confused and struggling with her own insecurities. She doesn't mean what she says. Just ignore her, and she'll stop eventually." But she never stopped. The bullying continued throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, and even into college. When she would tell my friends at parties that I was adopted and that I was lucky to even be part of the family at all. The years of torment that my sister put me through left deep, permanent scars on my psyche that I carried with me every single day, and I spent most of my childhood feeling like a stranger in my own home, like an outsider who would never be accepted or loved for who I was. I became quiet, introverted, and deeply self-conscious because I was constantly terrified that someone would find out my secret and judge me for it. Even though being adopted was nothing to be ashamed of and something I should never have been made to feel embarrassed about. I did everything I could to prove that I deserved to be part of the family. I got straight A's. I was the captain of the debate team. I volunteered at local charities. And I never caused any trouble because I thought that if I could just be good enough, maybe Emily would finally accept me and my parents would finally stand up for me. But nothing I ever did was enough for Emily, and my parents continued to enable her behavior because they were too weak and too afraid of conflict to actually discipline her and hold her accountable for the cruelty she showed me every single day. I often wondered why Emily hated me so much, why she was so obsessed with reminding me that I was adopted and different from her, but I never got an answer because whenever I asked, she would just laugh and say, "Because it's true. You're not really part of this family, and you never will be." I carried that pain with me for years, and I never told anyone that I had found something strange in our mother's closet when I was cleaning her room one summer, something that would change everything and reveal that Emily had been projecting her own insecurities onto me for our entire lives. I was 23 years old when I finally made the discovery that shattered everything I had ever believed about my family, and it happened completely by accident. When I was helping my mother clean out her closet and organize some boxes that had been gathering dust for years, I came across a small locked wooden box that was hidden behind some old winter coats, and I wasn't going to open it because I assumed it was just my mother's private belongings. But a strange feeling of curiosity washed over me, and I decided to try to pick the lock because something about the box felt important, like it was hiding a secret that I was supposed to find. I managed to open the lock with a hairpin, and inside the box, I found several documents that made my heart stop and my hands start shaking because they weren't documents about me, they were documents about Emily, and they revealed something that was completely unbelievable and absolutely impossible. I found Emily's original birth certificate, and it wasn't from our parents. It was from a birth mother named Patricia, a woman I had never heard of, with no mention of my mother or father anywhere on the document. I found adoption papers, legal documents transferring legal custody of Emily to my parents when she was just 3 months old, and a letter from the adoption agency that confirmed that Emily had been adopted and that my parents had kept this secret from her for her entire life. I sat there on my mother's bedroom floor, staring at those documents, and I felt like I was going to pass out because I had spent my entire childhood being bullied and humiliated by my sister for being adopted, and she was adopted too. My parents had lied to both of us, had hidden the truth from Emily and allowed her to torment me for years without ever correcting her or stopping her behavior because they were too ashamed of their own secrets to tell her the truth about where she actually came from. I sat on my mother's bedroom floor for a long time, holding those documents and processing the enormity of what I had just discovered, and I felt a cold, sharp anger building inside me because my parents had allowed Emily to destroy my childhood, to make me feel worthless and unwanted, to make me feel like I didn't belong in my own family, and all of it was based on a lie. I decided in that moment that I wasn't going to confront my parents privately or tell Emily in a quiet conversation because that wouldn't be satisfying enough. That wouldn't be painful enough for the people who had hurt me so deeply for so long. I was going to wait for the perfect moment, the moment when Emily was at her most vulnerable, the moment when she was surrounded by all her friends and family and couldn't escape the truth. And I was going to reveal everything in the most public way possible. That perfect moment came a few months later when Emily got married to her longtime boyfriend, and she invited me to the wedding as a bridesmaid because she wanted to look like the perfect sister in front of all her friends. I accepted the invitation, bought a beautiful dress, and prepared a speech that I had been planning for months because I knew exactly what I was going to say and exactly how I was going to destroy her. At the reception, after the cake was cut and the guests were comfortable, I stood up with a champagne glass in my hand and asked to make a toast to the happy couple. I looked at Emily, at her smug, self-satisfied smile, and I said, I want to make a toast to my sister Emily, the woman who spent her entire life telling everyone that I was adopted and that I didn't belong in this family. The room went completely silent, everyone's eyes fixed on me, and Emily's face went white with confusion and anger. I continued, what you don't know, Emily, what you have never known is that you were adopted too. I found your birth certificate, your adoption papers, and a letter from the adoption agency in Mom's closet. You are not biologically related to Mom and Dad any more than I am. You were adopted too, and Mom and Dad have been hiding this from you for our entire lives. The room erupted into gasps and murmurs. Emily's face twisted in shock and horror, and my mother collapsed into her chair with a scream while my father sat frozen with a look of complete devastation on his face. Emily stood up and screamed, "That's not true! You're lying! How dare you lie to me on my wedding day?" I calmly pulled out the documents from my handbag, the same documents I had been carrying with me for months, and I handed them to Emily so that everyone could see them. Emily read the documents, her hands shaking, her face covered in tears. And then she looked at our mother and screamed, "Is this true? Am I adopted too? Did you lie to me my whole life?" My mother couldn't speak. She just collapsed into sobs, burying her face in her hands. And my father whispered, We thought it was better for you not to know. We thought it would be too painful." Emily started screaming, throwing things, and her new husband pulled her aside while I just stood there calmly, watching my entire family fall apart in front of everyone they had ever known. I walked out of the reception, got into my car, and drove home feeling lighter than I had felt in my entire life because I had finally told the truth, finally exposed the hypocrisy and the lies that had destroyed my childhood and made me feel worthless for so many years. After that night, Emily tried to call me multiple times, leaving voicemails and sending texts, but I never responded to any of them because I had spent my entire life being bullied and belittled by her, and she didn't deserve to have me in her life after everything she had put me through. My parents also tried to make amends, apologizing for the lies and the secrets and the years of enabling Emily's behavior, but I told them that I couldn't trust them anymore and that I needed space to heal from the wounds they had inflicted on me by keeping secrets and letting me be destroyed by their own daughter's cruelty. I eventually found my biological birth mother, reached out to her, and learned that she had given me up for adoption because she was young and unable to care for me. But she had thought about me every single day, and she was thrilled to finally reconnect with me. Today, I have a relationship with my birth mother that is more loving and accepting than anything my adoptive family ever gave me. And I have a career, a supportive partner, and a group of friends who treat me like family without any secrets or lies or manipulation. Emily and I have not spoken in years, And I don't know if we will ever reconcile because some wounds are too deep and some betrayals are too fundamental to ever fully heal. I learned from all of this that secrets always come out eventually, and that the truth is always more powerful than lies, no matter how much the lies have been woven into the fabric of a family's history. The greatest revenge against someone who bullied and humiliated you for something that you had no control over is to reveal the truth about their own hypocrisy and let them live with the consequences of their actions forever. Secrets always come out eventually, and the truth is always more powerful than lies, no matter how much the lies have been woven into the fabric of a family's history. The greatest revenge against someone who bullied you for something you had no control over is to reveal the truth about their own hypocrisy and let them live with the consequences forever.